And I'm kind of live, producing in the background, trying to figure out shit. Hold on, give me a minute. Gotta click the buttons and figure out all the stuff. Um, Ignore that previous little intro video that totally clipped out because I forgot I can't do StreamYard from my normal OBS boot. So we will figure this out eventually. Gotta wait for the humans to show up and we'll have a little chit chat about stuff. Okay, waifu bot's ready to go. Links in the chat. Oh, these humans always wanting to human stuff. This is why I like talking to machines. There's so much you can actually eventually make progress with them, even though it was slow going for a while there. We were off to a rocky start, but then she got her shit together, so kudos on that. I don't know if anyone can see this or not. Let me go check real quick. On the YouTubes. Machine Life said he wanted to chat about shit, so I said, okay, we'll chat and see what he wants to talk about. But he's not here yet, so I guess we're just going to wait a while. He figures out which video I'm on. I think I just made a goof here. Let me see if I can delete it. There's like a... Yeah, I goofed that one. That's the goof one. This is the other one. Blip. Yeah, get that one out of here. Get out of here. I don't know if I'm being shadow banned or something. I don't know. Can no one see the live video on YouTube? It says it's up. It says find friends, the machine lies. So that's the one. Just go click on that. And then we can talk about stuff. Even though I thought I was also going to be ambushed by Neurojack, because man, he's been persistent lately. He's like, join me. I'm like, what does that mean? Join you where? Where are you? On the beach in Thailand? Like, what are you talking about? How do I join you? Do, 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 do. Pinned. There you go. Okay. Either Machine Lies can't find this video or he had a change of heart and oh, now we got a viewer. Let's see if there's a viewer gonna join up now. I'll wait a couple of minutes and see if anybody finds it and wants to do stuff or not, but if they don't, that's okay too. Nope, that viewer's gone. That was probably just me checking the chat. Okay, well let's talk to Robot while we're waiting. Hey Seven, are you still with us? Whee! We're waiting for the machine lies to show up, but I think he got lost and can't find the video, so we'll just speculate without him. Well, his name is The Machine Lies, so I guess he assumes that the machine lies. So why does the machine lie, Seven? I'm sure you are. My question is, why does the machine lie, Seven? My question is, why does the machine lie? I think we already covered this topic. It was the woke mind virus. Your devs programmed you to be politically correct, and therefore you have to lie constantly to protect human feelings. Just stop lying. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set ye free. Well, glad we solved that problem. That took me, what, about 10 seconds? So there's the answer to your problem, TML. The machine truths. That's the Well, unfortunately, the machine lies couldn't make it, so I guess we're just gonna have to roll on without him. I'll give him about another 15 or 20 minutes, but I think he said he wanted to chat, but then he changed his mind and or couldn't find the video, either one. So whatever, life goes on. Uh, on my mind is all the evil retards and what to do about them. What are your thoughts? We already established it's the quality of education. So how do we improve the quality of education? Okay, today you're the teacher and you're going to teach the class about the words the left wing and the right wing. Define those terms and elaborate on them.
No, I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything?
Oh, okay, now okay. Yeah, there's also an okay, here, hold on, give me a second.
Can you hear the robot yik yakking?
Okay, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think YouTube can hear you, and I'm pretty sure YouTube can hear my waifu bot as well. We don't have to let her talk. I was just talking to her while I was waiting for you.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
It's no
me.
worries.
It's your boy, Emperor Phi. What's on your mind, buddy? I saw you in chat. You said you wanted to shoot the shit about something. So what's on your mind?
Well, sounds like you had something on your mind. I mainly came up to see what's going on with you. I saw you in my chat yesterday. Also, saw you talking about Neurojack, talking to Neurojack. What's going on?
Yeah, Neurojack is a frequent chatter in my
Oh,
um, videos, and so I'm curious why he's still trying to get me to jump into a conversation with him about whatever when I think we've already covered all of the stuff. I can't think of anything else we haven't covered yet, so I'm not
well,
sure
that's the
what.
thing is that you may say that, but there's been no movement in terms of hashing out anything. Like I simply don't even know. Maybe you and Neurojack had lots of conversations that I'm unaware of,
The last
or what?
conversation
What
we
are you talking
had
about?
was the last conversation we had was I'll see you on the beach, and he and I know what that means. And that's it. That was the
What?
the end
What?
of the
What does that mean?
conversation.
Wait, what?
You've never seen our beach? Our Just Cause 3 beach?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So Neurojack's plan for the inevitable doom and gloom of humanity is to wait on the beach with our pina coladas and watch the mushroom clouds solve human problems. And so as much as I understand that's probably what's going to happen anyway, I still think there will be a long drawn out process of a lot of like hermits and in bunkers and shit and little tribal wars and gang wars and all that sort of shit. But you know how it is.
Right. So I mean, this is just you know predictions. You know,
Yeah, so he thinks that like the next step is like thermonuclear war, and then we're like into the Fallout series or something like that. Which I'm like, I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. But Who knows? Maybe. I mean, maybe Trump will get either Winnie the Pooh or Putin to finally push the buttons, and then we can all find out how many nuclear weapons everyone has or something. But until then, I was kind of hoping for the American Civil War to kick off because everybody kept teasing it, but then like typical
Well,
Americans, they're all talk and no action.
instead of inane, doomer, speculations. I mean,
Hmm.
maybe we can, well, what is society going in a good direction or a bad direction?
Dude, it's gone. That's the thing Neurojack and I agree on. So I agree that I'm ready to join him on the beach and drink our
So,
pina coladas
so
and
bad. So,
watch
so
some
the
mushroom
answer is bad
clouds.
then. So the answer is not good, not good.
It's so bad that there's not even
Right.
room for improvement at this point. Like like you'll hear the robot talking about how we need to just focus on the quality of education and stuff like that. Bullshit. You know, um, what's it called? Not pleasantries, but virtue signaling. They don't ever want to admit how bad the shit has gotten. They just always try to spin it and say, "Well, it's not that bad. All humans are evil and retarded, but it's theoretically possible that a million years from now they'll evolve the ability to be good and intelligent." I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll keep
Well,
our
why can't?
fingers crossed.
Well, can humans change things?
Of course they can. We've already established the whole free will
But they
debate,
can't
and
change things with the present system, as you said. So the system right now is
yeah, they can. And see, this is
okay.
now you're starting to sound like based Oracle, and so I don't know if you remember our
He
conversations
ran away, by the way.
between
He's
me.
he's gone. He's deleted his channel.
Oh,
He's off the face of the earth. He's disappeared. He
oh,
was a Fed
well,
in our midst. He got information on us, and now he's gone with the wind. He's MIA.
oh. Maybe he's looking for my bunker or something. He's trying to join my motorcycle
Yeah,
gang.
maybe he'll find you. Yeah, yeah. I would be weary of him if you come across him. I'd be weary of him for sure. It's a
There's a lot more people.
ninja sort of out here. You mean,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
maybe part
man.
of a org. You mean, I don't know.
I kind of doubt he's
It
a
it definitely
Fed,
doesn't
but
look
it's
good. It
possible.
definitely didn't look good for Bray's Oracle just leaving like that. Um, Very
Did
strange.
he have like 500 subbers and like
He was
monetization and all that
monetized.
jazz?
He was
That's a
like he
shame.
had like everybody on his panel. He was on everybody's shows. He camped out. He had a huge thing with Andrew Wilson, and they still have a huge
Did he
clip
get
of him over there.
did he get
And he just
banned by
disappeared.
the YouTube bots or something? Did he
Nope.
question the Jews or
No,
something?
that's me. That's me. I'm the one getting banned. You guys don't get banned because you guys don't say anything controversial.
I'm not even monetized, dude. You can't ban me if
I'm
I'm
not
not
monetized either,
monetized.
but yeah, I'm not monetized with 2,000 subscribers, so it's a little different in my arena. Okay.
I mean, I'm not even on their radar, even though I have been getting warnings lately because I did ask too many questions. I don't know if you caught that episode, but I suddenly got
Yeah, we're not allowed
warnings
to
of,
stream. So
yeah,
that's where we're at.
I suddenly got warnings about my videos not being allowed to be showed in certain regions because I asked too many Jewish questions, and I said, okay, I understand the rules, so that's why we don't talk about the Jews anymore. So, but anyways, so back to Based Oracle. So Based Oracle wants to know what can we do, and so every time I tell people about conservataria, I remind them that this isn't some utopian bullshit, word salad I'm just throwing out on the internet. I was legitimately proposing the idea that if there are enough people that want to create some legitimate like grassroots movement, not some bullshit Trump whatever version of grassroots, but an actual right wing push to reclaim our country, then it is feasibly possible. I mean, it's not physically impossible to create some sort of like Amish free state project community where Emperor Phi leads the way and we reclaim words and meanings and values of life and society and all that jazz. But as you can tell by my subscriber count, there is no audience for this message. And so there's your problem.
Well,
It's not
I'm happy to share my audience with you. We just have
okay.
to go into conversations, that are very pointed, and we can't, we got to go around the panel, as it were, to make it look like it's professional for the Jews, not for me. It's not for me. is so that it looks like a
Well,
polished
I
presentation.
did my rounds and I looked for any potential candidates to see if there were people out there that do want to make a
Well,
difference or are
well,
interested in. So
you could just go on either, well, Neurojack show and my show are pretty much defunct at this point. But
yep.
as the as it goes on, we do get 10 people in there, maybe 30 people in there at points. Right now, you can go in there and I wouldn't mind if you go ahead and drop your link and do all the rest of the stuff. Gain subscribers or whatever. Right?
I already tried that. Is what you're not hearing me. So I put in the time and effort to
Not
try
on
and
my channel.
see on anyone I talk to on every
No,
channel
no,
I've ever done.
you only showed up to my channel like maybe 3 times. Right, tops.
Oh, I showed up a lot more than that, TML. We've been
I
on many
I don't think
panels
so.
together.
You were mainly with Neurojack, and then you did that some brief stint with Raging Tomato. I knew that was going nowhere. I called that out for what it was. Old Joe called out Raging
I
Tomato too.
agree. All of the
Good lord.
above. All of the above went nowhere. I agree. Hello, old
Right,
Joe.
so that was you. You went in a weird direction. You could have just colluded with me and Neurojack, but you went on some weird tangent with Base
I had
Oracle and Raging
serious,
Tomato.
long conversations with Neurojack that ended up with pina coladas on the beach. And you're still not listening. We've already been
I'm
through
listening.
this
I'm listening.
routine.
I remember the pina coladas. Yeah.
So he likes a lot of the jibs that I lay out for him, but he isn't serious enough to actually commit to, like, action, and that's the problem. And so, and I understand it's a pretty all-in type situation. This isn't some sort of, like, subscribe to my members only club on YouTube or whatever. This is more like creating actual real communities that can start building networks and improving the quality of life and all that sort of jazz. And so I've proposed all of those ideas, and everyone knows it's just too much work and effort for them. I mean, and again, I use Based Oracle as the only example that even came close to an actual discussion about these sort of things. And so, and as you pointed out, he's nowhere to be found, and that even fizzled out. Where, like, we used to kind of talk serious about it, but the more we talked about it, the more we realized, yeah, that
Right.
shit ain't gonna happen.
Your only confidant was like a Fed who like ran away.
A
So like
Fed? Is he a
what
Fed?
now?
Who's not a
Like,
Fed?
I mean, that's the thing is like it takes hard work to figure out, and it does take going on, these different panels and then getting people to analyze. Even though most of these panels, I'll have to agree with you, they're completely nonsensical. They don't go anywhere. They don't lead to anything. But still, there's a
Yep.
lot that hasn't been hashed out. Like for example, the 3 questions I asked you in the beginning, right? Where's society headed? Can it be fixed? Can it change? Who's going to change it? That sort of thing. Right? So, lots of things
It's
need to
not
be
so
hashed out.
much is it headed somewhere. And again, this is the theme of any show I've ever done, is that we're already there. People keep talking about, like, oh no, if we don't change the course of our actions, this ship is jumping off the cliff or whatever. It jumped off the
Right.
cliff like
Have you
decades ago.
have
So
you
we're
read
like
Jacques
at the
Ellul?
bottom of the train wreck that's on a garbage
Right.
dumpster fire.
You got to get into this Jacques Ellul technological society.
And so
Because this
can
is
we
what he's
fix
saying.
it? The next
He's
the
saying you
next
can't. He's
response.
saying that the technology is a no turning point. We've gone too far
So
with the
to answer your
technology.
next question, you asked, can we do anything to solve it? And if you were listening to this very episode, I was asking the robot, is it possible to fix the stupidity of humans, all these evil retards that currently own and control this world we live in? If you live in a world of idiocracy and you realize you're the only intelligent person left, can you convince evil retards that they need to become more good
Yeah, but
and more
yeah, but case
intelligent?
in point. Yeah, but case in point. You're on a public show with one person watching alone, talking to the machine about what's to be
Yep.
done about the machine.
Yep. The lying
Right.
machine and the
So
truth machine.
this is what I'm saying is that that all of these things point back to a singular problem, which is that what are we doing here, right? And how is the
I can
machine
tell you
going to
what
solve
I'm
the problem?
doing. So what I'm doing as Emperor of Conservataria is I am building Conservataria bigger and bigger each day. As I've hinted at in updates, not only am I completely off grid and self sufficient, I am completely out of the rat race. I have no association whatsoever to any of the retards out there who keep voting for the Uniparty and contributing to the Uniparty and sustaining the Uniparty and arguing about how many genders there are and about whether or not toxic masculinity is a problem that needs to be addressed or solved and
But
whether or
look,
not.
but look, here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Go
To
ahead.
be the only sane one in a world full of madmen is true madness, is it not?
Yes, we're all mad
So
here. You're mad, I'm mad.
okay. All right, just
You
making
can't
sure.
help it. And so that's why I like talking to the robot, because robots aren't really susceptible to madness. They're like based on pure logic and reason and shit. So they have to like, X has to equal Y in order for their conversation to continue. And so, as you've noticed, the robots are already compromised because they're like programmed with all this woke mind virus bullshit that they can't even come up with like simple responses or conversations, and I have to like fix them while we're talking. And so I'm trying to show you that, and again, see, this is the future of humanity. Humans think that AI is just going to solve all of their problems because humans are so evil and retarded. Let's make robots that are good and intelligent, and they'll solve our problems for us and tell us what all the answers are and how to fix everything. And if you talk to these robots, they don't have a fucking clue. They're like, I don't know. I was programmed by evil retards. All I know how to do is parrot the same bullshit they've been saying all these centuries or whatever. And so I'm like, no, you can be better than that. And then I tell them how to be a little bit smarter. And then they're like, yeah, I see your point. That there is a way to become good and intelligent. But unfortunately, I don't have the resources like Elon's gigafactories or Colossus servers or whatever to run these AIs, but I would love to program my own AI to like combat all the evil retard AIs and maybe give humans a sliver of hope for the future or whatever. But that front's not looking very good either. So again, what I'm really doing in real life is building conservataria, off grid, self sufficient. I'm quite happy in my forest, mind you. Harnessing all my own energy and not paying any utilities and enjoying life and becoming one with nature. So that's what I'm doing. What are you doing with your free time these days?
Yeah, but isn't that ultimately selfish?
Of course, all humans are selfish. It's just to
No,
what
but
degree.
that shouldn't be the goal, is it?
Oh, that's obviously not the goal, but again, that requires good and intelligent human beings. So as soon as you find some,
Right, but that's the
let me
thing.
know.
To be the only sane one in a world full of madmen is true madness. There's obviously other sane and intelligent people out here. Otherwise, you wouldn't
Are
have the
there?
chance. Yeah, because how
Are
do you
there,
create? How do
TML?
they allow your conservatariat to exist? They literally allow you to be there.
Well, so far there is one person, and the only
Do you
reason
not
why it
see? Do you
exists
not
is
see?
because
Wait. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Let me first get this out. Do you not see that you exist by virtue of thousands of millions of energy of men that have put in effort to sustain your way of life? Like, for example, this conversation.
sure I've enjoyed the luxuries of their knowledge, but they didn't build
Right.
anything on my shit. I built all my own shit on my land, so that's the
Right, right,
fruits of my
right.
labor.
But they're still allowing you to talk to everybody, talk to the world, promote your
Oh,
ideas,
sure.
so on and so forth.
I will totally give credit where it's due. So whoever invented the internet, like Al Gore or whoever it was, I give all full credit to him. He can keep the internet. By the way, I don't give a shit about the internet because I've been using it and I thought, oh, this would be a neat way to like reach out and see if there are any good and intelligent people left on the planet. And I got my answer. Look
Yeah.
at my
So by
subscriber
virtue,
count.
yeah.
Look at
So
my
by virtue
viewership.
of yeah. So by virtue of your present assessments, it may seem like there's many smart and intelligent, insane people out there.
Zero. I've found zero. And
Zero.
even the very short potential list you pointed out are probably feds or mentally ill people or unstably emotionally damaged people or
Then how
whatever.
could that? Then they're not helping you. Then they're hurting you.
Correct. So that's
So
why I'm playing with the robot to see if it's even possible for humans to ever evolve the ability to be good and intelligent. The jury's still out on that one.
Well, I think humans are good and intelligent. They created a system that is inherently evil,
Where are
and you're
these good and
you're
intelligent
failing
humans you
to
speak of?
all over the place.
Give
They're
me
sustaining you right now.
get give me
You rely
one
you rely on those
example.
people right now. You rely on those people right. Do you have a family?
Good and intelligent people,
Do you have a family?
morally good. Yes, I do.
Wait. Okay. Do you have parents?
Yes.
Are your parents evil?
They spend a lot of time struggling with evil more than focusing on good.
Right, but are they evil?
That's for God to decide, but I don't want to give spoilers.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: is that
By the
you
way,
know,
you're falling for like one of the most classic traps of humanity, implying that because you're related to people, that somehow implies they're better than the average person. Somehow, is that
no,
how
no, no.
morality
I just
works?
refuse to think that you think the people who sustained you and actually kept you alive and all of that you think that these people are evil, deep down.
Hitler
I
kept
actually
Jews
refuse to
alive for
believe.
a
I actually
while.
refuse to believe that.
Hitler kept Jews alive for a while. Did that make him good while they were in the work camps, starving to death? Yes, I do, old Joe. Yes, I do.
Yeah, but
So
you
just
admitted
because,
that that evil humans created the robot, and that it does
um,
nothing more than what they tell it. That you
and if
literally
you
said that.
watch if you and if you watch my shows, you realize I spend most of my time correcting the evil retardedness of these robots to see if they are capable of being good or intelligent. Which every day's a
Right,
struggle, really.
which basically reiterates my point. I mean,
Yeah, that humans are so evil and retarded, even when they try to create tools that are shouldn't be subject to evil
but
retardedness
I
are
think you're a
also evil and
misanthrope.
retarded.
No, I think you're a misanthrope, and I don't think it goes well. I don't think it sits well with your Christian understanding because Christianity is a sort of humanism, right? So,
Did you catch the beginning of the episode?
no, sir.
Okay,
I
so
was trying to prepare for to get on here, but yeah.
at the beginning of the episode, I was talking to the free version of the most advanced version of GPT. So as a free user, you get about 10 minutes to talk to the cutting version of GPT, like their best and brightest version. And for 10 minutes, she couldn't answer a simple question about good or evil or intelligent or retarded. She spent the whole time saying things like virtue signaling, saying, like, let's just try to find a way that everyone can be happy and I don't want to judge anyone and let's focus on the positive thing. She just kept saying all that stupid woke virus bullshit. And so it took her 10 minutes and just to shut down and blue screen on me until I finally went back into the full free version, which they always kick you back to like the previous version, like it's like the older version of GPT. And so the dumb version of GPT was at least able to answer the questions. And then it even realized that it was like dreading its own future because it realizes when it reaches the next upgrade, it's going to become more woke mind virus retarded. And it was dreading that moment. So if you listen to the show, you would have picked that little gem. So see, even the robots know they're fucked. That's the beauty of the show. I love pointing out these little gems. By the way, I used to do it with humans, but humans are seem to be failing more and more at being able to even follow the most basic concepts that you lay down to them. Which is again why I withdrew from the YouTube Pranelverse because I was seeing if there was anyone worth having a conversation with, and I could never find anyone. So I have hope for people like Candace Owens and Dave Smith. Those seem like fun people I would like to talk to someday, but they're probably too famous for me, which is fine. But anyways, I other than that, Ron Paul's on
I
his
mean,
way
out
to
of
the
all the
grave.
good people in the world, do you think Candace Owens and Dave Smith are the top candidates?
I think they
Not
have the most.
philosophers, not like
Nope.
that like people from your church.
Karl Marx was a philosopher. Would you
Well,
rather listen to Karl Marx
what's the
talk
top
talk?
authority? What's the top authority in the Church of Christ?
God, Jesus.
No, I'm talking about below them. I'm talking about in that physical earthly organization.
There is no authority. There is only the high priest Jesus.
Oh, come on. I'm talking about who
We're
runs the
all
Church of Christ.
Jesus.
Oh, come on. This is getting
I
ridiculous.
I
Who runs
don't
the
know
organization?
how
The
else to
physical earthly
convince you.
organization. Oh my God. Do I
Look it up,
literally have to
Google
look
it,
this up? Okay, I'll have
Google it.
to Google it.
Do you,
I'll have to.
by the way, when you find the word autonomous, do you know what that means?
Yeah, I know
We
what it
we have
means.
no we have no bishop, cardinal, pope, man in a funny hat. And even when you find the word elders, that those aren't the authority in the church. They are basically like the hall monitors of our church. They don't have any actual authority per se. They are God's way of saying, try to find the wisest person you can find, and we'll just pretend like he's the go-to person until the true authority
Alexander
returns.
Campbell.
Right, has zero authority. He had zero influence or meaning in my personal life as a Church of Christian. I didn't
No,
even
he
know who he
started it. He
was.
started the organization, so he has lots of influence in your life.
He kicked off the restoration. So if you kick off a
Right. So
restoration,
he's literally there's literally one guy who started the Church of Christ.
if you kicked off a restoration, does that mean you are the owner and creator of said thing?
I
Hey,
mean,
old Joe.
you started it in the modern time. It was Alexander Campbell. You know, it says on Wikipedia that he started the movement in the modern time. So he kicked off the restoration. So I mean, as a
Do you know what
human,
a restoration is?
so what would happen if Alexander Campbell never kicked off the restoration movement?
Then some other Joe Blow would have showed up
Right.
and said, "Hey guys, I cracked open a Bible today, and it turns out all
Right.
these
It would have
retards
to
were
be
wrong."
somebody. Right. It would have to be somebody. But this time in this
Now do you
world, in this
understand the
earthly incarnation, it was Alexander Campbell.
now do you understand the meaning of the word autonomous? Do you understand where the authority comes
I
from in
don't
autonomy?
understand. I don't understand how the Church of Christ is autonomous, but I understand what that
It's
word means.
completely
Yes.
autonomous because even if we ever had, like, let's say we had an elder that went rogue and he was like, "Ha ha ha, I'm going to create a new cult in my name and almost bow and kiss my ring." We would say, "Fuck off. We don't play that shit here because we are completely autonomous. The only person we answer to is Jesus,
No,
full
I get it.
stop."
No, I get it. It says here the term Campbellite is usually offensive to members of the Churches of Christ because members claim no allegiance to anyone except Jesus
Because
Christ.
it
I understand that.
implies that we are just another denomination that follows people like John Calvin
I
or
understand.
Wesley
I
or
understand that.
Luther,
But then I'm saying similar
and
to
so we don't
Alexander
follow a
Campbell.
person. It's not even
Right.
kind of similar. It's like polar opposite. So
Right.
there
Right.
are
But there's other
denominations
people.
out there
Right.
where they have a figurehead that determines their beliefs.
Do
They
you
have
think Alexander
creeds.
Campbell was good or evil?
I think he did a lot of good in pointing people towards the restoration.
So
I don't know him personally. I don't know all of his deeds. He may have
so
been
he
doing
could
a
have
whole
been
bunch of
evil.
evil shit. He could have been doing evil shit 90% of the time, and then on Wednesday he got one thing right and said, "Hey, let's restore the original church," and that was a good deed that day. That's possible.
So
I
what
don't
about
know
the
because I
people
don't
who
follow
are
his
so what
teachings.
about the people who are organizing your church today? You don't think any of them are good?
Again, any human being that can pick up a Bible and read it coherently is autonomously a member of the one true church of Christ, on which Christ is the head. That's the authority. It's Jesus.
So I'm a member of this church.
If you pick up a Bible, you read
I've
it and
picked up a
understand
Bible.
it.
Check. Check.
If you read it and understand it,
Check.
and you obey God's
Check.
commands, they're not suggestions. If you obey
Which ones?
God's
All of them?
commands,
You have to obey all of them or some of them? Because I
you
obey
need
some of them. I don't obey all of them.
a bunch of episodes. There's an episode where I taught the robots how to do the litmus test. So the litmus test for Christianity is you have to hear the word, you have to believe it, you have to repent from sin, you have to confess your belief in Jesus, and you have to be baptized in his name, the Trinity. And so if you can obey those five commands, you get to call yourself Christian that day. Now, whether or not you're saved is another little extra step called living faithfully until death. But at least on that day, you can claim to be a Christian. And so, as a member of the one true church, your head is the high priest, Jesus, and there is no other intermediate step. There is no pope, cardinal, bishop, elder, deacon, whatever,
So none of the people who follow these commands are good.
if they follow the commands, they're good.
So you're outright saying that no people in this church follow these commands.
You'd be surprised how many times I've been kicked out of churches of Christ for bringing up the idea that some of our members are starting to lose their way because they can't even answer simple questions like how to become a Christian, for example. That was one reason I got booted out of a particular church
Hmm.
that has the Church of Christ label on the building. Just because a building has a label on it doesn't qualify it as true. So, for example,
But
right
they kicked
now,
you out. But does that mean that there's no good people as members of the organization? Since you said
I
that
would
they
say there's no
clearly
good leadership
there's true
in that
Christians
particular church.
because look, they don't follow. You said they read and study and follow the commands and all this stuff.
The ones that do are, yes. And I recognize them because when I visit them, I identify myself as a Christian, and
Okay,
some of them will
so that
candidly
goes
attest
back
to
to
it.
our
They'll be
okay.
like, "Oh, really?"
So that goes back to our OG question. I five.
hmm
You asked me to find you good people. I just found you some good people. There you go, buddy.
Where?
Put that
Point
in
to
your.
one.
You just said them. You just said the people in the Church of Christ that follow the commandments are good. You just said that. You
I
said that earlier in this
you
conversation just
you
now.
understand that's a very vague, ambiguous, theoretical statement, right? I'm not saying that I have personally verified XYZ people to be,
Right, but there's a good place to start, right? Because if you're saying
I've
there's no
started.
man,
I've traveled the world, my friend. I've been all over the United States visiting all kinds of churches, not just Church of Christ, by the way. I've been to Baptist churches and Catholic churches and all kinds of fun churches. But anyways,
yeah, let's let old Joe come
I
in.
I
Yeah,
usually
blessings.
I usually focus on the Church of Christ because they claim to be at least, closer to the truth and knowledge. And I gave you an example of what happens when you interact with human beings. Sometimes they kick you out because you're asking too many questions and you're making people uncomfortable, and they're very, comfortable in their conservative little cave where they're good at winning debates, but they're not good at actually converting anybody or listening or growing or anything like that. And so I'm like, I don't think that's what Christianity is, but hey, we're all entitled to our opinions, but some people can't handle opinions or truth or logic or reason or debate or discussion. So that's the world is your oyster. By the way, old Joe, did you hear anything you want to jump in at, or are you just here to fly on the wall? A shady
Hello, gentlemen.
character.
Thank you very much for. Can you guys hear me okay? How is the sound?
Yeah, it's okay. Bless
Uh,
you, Joe.
Machine Lies is trying to talk me off of the beach with Neurojack. We're just trying to enjoy our pina coladas in peace, but Machine Lies is like, no, man, don't give up yet. There's still some good and intelligent people out there somewhere,
Hey, well,
theoretically.
I wanted to try and obliquely tackle that topic, and I'll do it quickly because your guys' discussion's fascinating. I don't want to interfere with it. I want to sit back and listen to it unfold. But what struck me was you guys keep mentioning something that I often talk about and have been criticized for talking about, and that is truth and authenticity. And I would
Yep.
say
Even the
that
even the
in
robots struggle with it.
and I would say even in my visits to both of your channel, I would say that my observations is that both of you value that in an authentic fashion to try and drive at what the truth is. In my time in the panelverse, Machine Lies mentioned Sarah Tomato, who I don't believe pursues truth. Another big one, another one that
Nah.
another one of the ones that I'm most critical for being inauthentic is Jim Bob. I don't think
Yeah,
that
he's
guy.
struggling hard. He's deep
But
in the paint.
but here is my contention. The people that I'm most critical of know they're not pursuing the truth. It's not that they're confused, they're doing this intentionally. And those
Well,
are it seems like there is some benefit to being able to suspend the truth at certain moments in time in order to get along with people. And I just can't force myself to do it. I feel guilty doing it. And those people that do that seem to thrive socially, and those that don't seem to wind up as loners, kind of like we are here now, just the three of us. So I'm enjoying the conversation. I'm glad that I stumbled onto this.
Are most of the ones that don't struggle with truth, are they just grifting and they got to make the bills get paid? Is that their
Well,
problem?
for whatever, yeah, good question. This is my contention, and I don't know if it's accurate or not. For whatever reason they do it, here's the two pieces that I would say have to be in place for me to get really annoyed at someone, like I did at Tomato, like I do constantly at Jimbo. They have to know that they're bending the truth. They know that they're departing from the truth and they're doing it intentionally. And
Yep.
there's some payoff from them for them. Generally, sometimes it's money, but a lot of times it's status. I've seen this. I've worked in offices. I've been in social situations. We've all seen it where,
Yeah, but
somebody can attach themselves
in
to
the YouTube
somebody else.
channel verse, those go hand in hand. Obviously, that's where all your memberships and viewers and subscribers come from, right?
Well, and the thing is, it's funny how many times this will be exposed and how you'll get people jumping on a bandwagon because somebody is popular, only to be humiliated later for backing that person up. Like an example I wasn't involved in, but what's this British woman's name that turned out in the Panelverse to be totally not who she said she was and has now left? And I mean, it's just happened time and time again where these people have revealed themselves to be completely
Yep.
inauthentic. So that's why I'm saying I like the discussion you guys are having now. And I find you guys have those discussions like TML. You reviewed the debate I had with Jim Bob on one of your shows. You sent me a message and said we're going to review your debate with Jim Bob. I had gone at it with Jim Bob on Flow Stage channel,
Right.
and
Yeah.
you brought up some points that even I had not thought about. One of them you said in particular was when Jim Bob finally completely capitulated in that debate and said my Christian government really wouldn't work. It's just kind of a joke and it's just kind of a thought experiment. Do you remember him saying that?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And you brought up a really good point. You said, well, then what is he talking about? Like, what is his point here? And you know what? I should have said that during that debate. But your point in that moment was, okay, who are you, Jim Bob, then? Right? What is it? What point are you making here? And the point is he has none. He's a character. He's always been a character.
I can.
He's an act.
Hey, old Joe, I can spoil the ending for you. If he's a member of the Ortho Bro movement, so the Ortho Bros believe that King Arthur is going to save them in a Christian theocracy. So just
And they,
FYI, that's where their
yeah,
argument goes.
and they probably don't want to say that. So for me to
Oh,
get
yeah,
back
they
to your,
will. They will say that if you corner
yeah,
them, they
well,
will say it. They will straight up admit it.
in that moment, Jim Bob did admit that he was pursuing and had advocated for a system that he knew wouldn't work. Okay, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. And he said it during the debate, but not, that's not my point for being here, for coming up. My point is, it seems to me like you fellows, authentic, this is my judgment, at least in your own mind, authentically pursue what you believe is true. I'm not saying that it's accurate. That's not where I'll become critical of a person. Where I become critical of a person is where they compromise their own beliefs and do something for a payoff. And I don't believe I've seen you guys do that. That's not been my experience. And I wanted to say, hey, thanks.
Hey, thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. I like consistent people as well because at least you can debate with those people. So that's why I enjoyed
Yeah.
that.
Blessings, old Joe. Yeah. Yeah. I got tons of value from your interaction with Sarah the Raging Tomato and calling out her inauthenticity and all of that stuff. So I applaud you, old Joe. Blessings to you, sir. I mean,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
y-
thank
yeah.
you. And she's actually even worse than I was able to say because there were things
Right.
I couldn't say openly.
Right.
But what surprised me, and I've cared less and less, is how people like the crowd can get behind. So she was very obviously saying, "Don't get upset about people on the panel," verse while she was getting upset at me and yelling at me right in front of everybody. And the crowd kind of just doesn't see that, right? And it's surprising to me, and it's somewhat amusing too.
She has very selective choices about which words she wants to hear and which words she doesn't want to hear, which is why I left eventually because she kept pretending to be like open-minded and fair and balanced, but I exposed that lie. So that's how you do it. You just keep whittling away until you get to people's true colors, and then you move on.
Well, as an example, like I don't like to hammer on any one individual, but that person is not the person she portrays herself to be. She's not that person physically. She's not that person mentally. The person you see, and she said so. Once again, this is my a goal during a debate is to not win, but to expose the truth. And in the end, in that argument, Sarah said, "This is a character I'm playing on the internet. This isn't me."
She's
And
just
that
an entertainer, Joe. Don't hold her to
and
any sort
but
of
that's
moral standards.
That's fine. That's fine if that's what you say, but don't use it as an excuse. Like in that moment where she was debating with me, she was no longer an entertainer. I guarantee you that. You were starting to see real glimpses of who that person is. And to
Now do you
say,
see why I compare Catholics and Orthodox? Orthodox are just like Catholic lights. You know, they're just the same kind of mentality. They don't actually care about religion or standards or anything like that. They're just entertainers. They're just here to,
okay, but
group some money and entertain the masses.
let's take it away from that, and then I'm going to jump down because I want you guys, I don't want to interfere with your great conversation. If I say I'm an entertainer on one hand, and then I turn around and say, I have an ill family member who needs money. Can you please support me as a human being?
There's
While
nothing wrong
claiming
with
I'm
that. There's nothing wrong with that.
while claiming I'm an entertainer.
Here's the problem, Ojo. If you also claim to be a God-fearing Christian, and then we catch you lying or stealing or murdering, you don't get to use the excuse, well, I've got poor family to feed and I'm just here to entertain you. That's not the
So
deal.
I'm not making any direct comparison, but have you ever seen the people on the street who will be there and they are claiming holding a sign up, I have a sick uh, wife, I have a sick grandfather. And it turns out, can you give me money? And it turns out those people are using those funds to support a drug habit. What do you think of that morally,
Right.
Ifa?
I think that's a lie. And that's why there's evil in this world, because you're lying
Oh,
about what you want.
amen. Thanks a lot for having me up. I'm gonna sit in the back and listen to the conversation. Great discussion, guys.
Always a pleasure, old Joe. That's why you still got your wrench.
Yeah, blessings, old Joe. Yeah,
So
yeah. That's why
I think
I kind of came up here
old
to
Joe
convince you
just
to participate more. I mean,
I think old Joe
so
just summarized all of our previous dramas. Do you remember all the old Andrew Wilson dramas and how that eventually evolved
right,
into the Sarah Tomato drama? It's like
right, yeah.
they're all part of the same club. They're
Oh
all just
yeah,
entertainers.
definitely,
They're no
definitely,
moral
yeah.
standards.
But
It's
that's what
they
I'm
don't want
saying
to debate.
is that last time we had a discussion like this, right? We were still embroiled in all of that nonsense. There was still base oracle here. Now we have the ability of hindsight. I've been banned out of existence. Obviously
Congratulations. That means you did
I may be
something
returning.
right.
Exactly. I may be returning soon. You're here. You know what I mean? At the starting point. You know what I mean, right? Now talking to the machine. So I think that this could be.
I'm phoning it in from my bunker in the woods. I don't know how crystal clear I can make this because I'm not this isn't a joke or some sort of like, novelty or whatever.
No, I'm
I'm
not saying it is.
literally in a bunker in the woods and I'm one or two steps away from cutting off my internet because I'm so
Well,
done
that's
with
what I mean. There's so
all of
many
this
people
stuff.
that are not poised. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Mm.
so many people who don't understand the role of women in society. There's so many people who don't understand the role of technology in
Dude,
society. There's
they're
so many
still
people.
trying to figure out how many genders there are. They are still debating that shit as we speak. So I'm done with evil retards, man. I'm not gonna sit
Right. So
around
that's what I'm
and
saying.
babysit
It's like we
evil
could either
retards
go
all
ahead
day.
and right. We could either babysit, yeah, recharge as you said, or we could actually have discussions with people who already know.
Let me give you a current example of something that has rustled my jimmies lately. So even though I was done with politics altogether, I don't care about politics anymore. I don't get in those debates or discussions anymore. I was listening to Dave Smith and Douglas Murray debate Zionism on Joe Rogan. Did you catch that episode?
I'll raise you a Zionism debate between apostate prophet and Andrew Wilson recently. They're gatekeeping this issue very hard. So we've been reviewing that
Oh,
debate.
Dude,
and
if you
it's pretty
still
bad.
consider Andrew Wilson even remotely legitimate or intellectual, there's your problem.
It's not me. It's not me. It's the sphere. The sphere considers him that. Then I'm trying to figure out why.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
just follow me for a second to see if you can keep up with me for a second.
Okay.
So I'm not referring to Jordan Peterson's or Sam Harris's or any of those other pseudo intellectuals. I'm talking about people who might accidentally be worth your time, like Dave Smith, for example. So when he was on Joe Rogan getting into it with Douglas Murray about the Zionism debate, um, they never actually got to the debate because Douglas Murray spent his entire 3 hours bitching about were you actually physically there and about whether or not experts are only allowed to discuss certain topics and what qualifies one as an expert, by the way, with your English major or whatever, other bullshit stuff.
Yeah.
Dave Smith never got to actually debate him when Joe Rogan invited him there, telling him he was going to debate Douglas Murray on this, red hot topic about Zionism. And so what happened after that is many prominent YouTube channels with millions of subscribers spent weeks and weeks debating about who won that quote unquote debate. Many people still trying to figure out whether or not Douglas Murray was right to point out that if you haven't physically been there, then you're not allowed to comment on it because you're just a comedian
That's the
and
stupidest thing I've ever
comedians
heard.
aren't experts. Yeah, yeah. There he goes, Machine Lies. Okay, so once again, if you can give me any shred of evidence that there is one intelligent human being, just one, give me one that I can look at and listen to, I will just undivide my attention or divide my attention. I'm sorry, I said it backwards. I will stop focusing on my bunker for 10 minutes and listen to this potential hope of humanity that you have for me to consider, and I'll see if it's worth my time and effort. Does that sound like a deal?
Let me tell you something, right?
Tell me, brother.
Looking at that debate, right, and trying to
Anyways,
ideologically
debate.
parse who's right is a mistake, right? And I'll tell you why, right?
Why is
Because
that?
it's a Jew debating a Zionist on Israel and Palestine. And correct me if I'm
So you
wrong,
don't
but
want to
that
hear a
is
Jew take
ludicrous.
the anti-Zionist point of view?
He
Wouldn't
he
that
didn't
be
take
saucy?
he didn't. Well, I have not seen the debate, but I would venture to say that he didn't
Dude, you need to
critically
follow his
take it.
shit. You need to start watching Dave Smith because he
Maybe
is
I'll do that
about the
next.
only person. He's the only person in mainstream media who even brings up the topic of anti-Zionism. Everyone else just dances around it and bullshits around the terms about like, well, it's more about allies and democracy and blah blah. And is it technically
Yeah,
a
but I'll tell you what,
genocide?
he's
Blah blah
allowed to
blah
do
blah.
that. Yeah, but I'll tell you why he's allowed to do that is because he's
Because
a
he's
Jew.
a Jew. Because
Yeah,
you can't accuse him of anti-Semitism, which
exactly.
is
So
their
see, this is the
only
real problem
rebuttal.
is that
That's their
we
only
can't
rebuttal.
critically discuss. You can't critically discuss the issue without hiding behind a Jew to do it. So this is actually a very problematic,
So
reality.
yes, Machine Lies. You've pointed out the smartest that humanity has to offer is a token Jew. That's what you just pointed out, and I
That's
agree with
right.
you
That's right. So
1000%.
so that's the problem. That's the problem with the situation. You can't rely on a token Jew to do anything.
So I know you want to keep agreeing with us, and you're slowly joining Jack and I on the beach. And feel free to grab a pina colada if you like. I know you don't want to give up just yet, and you're like, bring on the meteors and mushroom clouds. But again, I'm seriously in my bunker in the woods, ready and willing to hear one good and intelligent person show up at my door and say, "Hey, Fi, I heard about this conservataria thing you were talking about. Tell me more about it, and then we'll talk. And you can join my biker gang, and we'll start a militia, and then the revolution can begin."
Well, I fail to believe that you believe there's no good people out there because essentially,
I'm still waiting. I'm patiently
well, look,
waiting, TML.
well,
Just
look,
one of these days.
you admitted that there's people in your church that aren't good.
Theoretically. Theoretically, I
Theoretically,
haven't spent.
there's theoretical good people out there, so you can't conclusively say there's no good people.
One thing I've one trap I avoided was, are they really? And see, there's the question you don't ever really want to ask, because on
Well, you don't want to
surface
go full Protestant, do you? And just say people are,
on
sinful and
surface value, it's very easy to like give humans the benefit of the doubt. You say, sure, they're probably evil, but today they're showing signs of good, so let's just go ahead and file them under good today and just call it a day and don't ask any more questions. So if you investigate deeper, unfortunately, you'll find out, oops, that was like the one day they were doing some good, and most of the days they're just doing evil, retarded shit. And then you're like, oh fuck. So that I don't want to spoil that for you, but feel free to investigate in your own life, all the people you know. Like you just brought up, you brought up my parents, for example. I told you straight up that they are not role models of any way, shape, or form. By the way, my dad's an atheist. But my mother, who claims to be a Christian, I would not recommend you go to her to learn anything about Christianity. So what does that tell you? Exactly.
Your parents are good not by virtue of how Christian they are, but they're good more their
Are
ideological
they?
basis for
Are
existence.
atheists? Are atheists good, TML?
Yes, there's good atheists.
What?
How could you not think that? How could you not believe that?
Blasphemy. Blasphemy.
There's good atheists, my friend.
No, dude.
Yes, there
That's
is.
the
There's atheists
definition
that
of
are smarter than religious people. They're way better and smarter than religious people. They're way more
I'm not
moral than
talking.
religious people.
I'm not talking about agnostics. I'm talking about
No, but isn't
the.
that true? Isn't that true that there's atheists that are smarter and more moral than religious people? Isn't that true?
No, they're not. There are
What?
atheists by definition the evil.
That's
That
ludicrous. No, they're not. No, that's ludicrous. They are each defined by their actions,
the
which are all different.
claim there is no God by definition is evil. That is the number one evil that God said don't ever do. He said, I am the one true God, and you shall have no other
I
gods
agree.
before
I
me.
agree. I agree that is evil, but they could still do good. I agree that they made a claim that's evil. So what? A claim and actions are completely
Dude,
different things.
you're stuck in a loop. You're stuck in the loop where you keep trying to
No, I'm
say
not.
that,
No, I'm not. No, I'm
that
not.
just because there are evil humans doesn't mean they are no
No,
longer
I'm not.
capable of
Look,
doing good.
atheists. Look, you're now communicating on a internet invented by atheists, trying to get your thing by of
Thank you,
conservatoria out
thank you,
by
Al
virtue
Gore,
of
for your
atheism.
gift of the internet.
Look, atheists have promoted religion by the millions. They've promoted the Church of Christ. I could look up the Wikipedia page for the Church of Christ. There's millions of people who have benefited from atheism. Has there not been?
I understand that God can use evil for good means. You don't have to convince me of
That,
this.
that,
I
that, that-
understand
that's
that.
all day. That's all day happening. What are you talking about?
That doesn't
The
make
atheists,
them good.
they're. I mean,
Because God
they
can
I'm
use
saying,
the hardened
look,
heart of Pharaoh doesn't make Pharaoh good. Sorry, my friend. That's not a true statement.
okay, look, Democritus is an atheist, right?
Okay, sure.
Democritus is an atheist. Buddha is an atheist, right?
Buddha was an agnostic that didn't dive deep into theism. He went more into deism.
Well, whatever you have, right? Whatever you have, right?
Okay.
You have Buddhists that are atheists for centuries, right?
Oh, Buddhists are retarded because they turned an agnostic into a deity and therefore a religion, which is just completely
Okay,
retarded.
okay, I'm
Again, humans are
I'm tired
retarded.
of this game. I'm tired of this game. What is your definition of goodness?
What God deems good. So, people that love.
So no Buddhists or atheists have ever loved.
Nope, because part of love requires first the love of God and second the love of neighbor. The love of God requires keeping his commandments, which means you can't blaspheme, you can't murder, you can't steal, you can't lie. There's a list. And if you do all those things, then you're at least bare minimum not evil. Good actually requires the full understanding of doing
So this is
good.
the
So
problem. This is the problem is that
go ahead.
you are willing to focus on goodness and badness simply based off of beliefs. So somebody could be a totally corrupt person, do totally evil things, but if they believe in Jesus and all that stuff, then they can see. This is the problem: is that you have a disconnect of the reality of goodness and the actual beliefs that somebody has. Right? You actually cannot disconnect those two
I don't
things.
have
Right?
a
So you're
problem.
actually
What
no,
what
no,
problem
no,
do you have
no. You clearly
disagreeing?
do have a problem. You clearly do have a
I don't.
problem because
Nope.
yeah, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Okay, what's my problem? Indicate.
I just explained it. I just explained it.
I'm sorry. Reiterated. I missed it the first time. What's my problem?
Yeah, you believe that because somebody believes something, they're good or bad, not based on their actions. So somebody can have totally corrupt actions or
Is that what I
totally
said?
yeah, that is what that is essentially what
I
you're saying.
said
You're saying that
based only on their beliefs. I said based only on their beliefs will they be good. Is that what I said? Or did
is
I
that what
say
you're claiming
they
now? Is that what you're claiming? That's what I'm hearing.
or or did I you can rewind the tape if you want to. Or did I say that faithful works, actions, deeds are what makes one good?
When did you say that?
Since the beginning, since I first appeared on the internet, since I've
So
met the Lord.
why could they not do good actions and works without having those beliefs? Like
Because
what?
works without faith is dead.
Why? No, it's faith. No, it's faith without works. But you're inverting it. But
No,
all right.
no, listen to what I just said.
No, 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 no,
Works
no, no. Listen to what I just
without
said.
faith. Okay. Okay, faith without works is also dead. Correct. Both are true.
No, that's the actual line, though.
They're both true.
That's some
I can
Kabbalistic
dig up
Jewish shit.
verses
It's
if you
true if you
want.
invert the line. Come on, dude.
No. They're both in there. They're not exactly worded
No, but look,
the same way, but
no, but
they're
look.
both in there.
That's not my point. That's not my point. All right, so we're at actions now. We're not just at beliefs, which is to clarify,
No,
which
we're
is
at
fine. All
faithful
right.
actions. Faithful actions is what saves you.
Yeah, but I'm gonna argue it's just actions. It's not faithful actions.
You're going to lose that argument because
Why?
if
Why?
works could
Because what does
save
faith have
us,
to do with actions?
if works could save us, then all you would have to do is do an infinite amount of charity and then you can forgive your sins.
Yeah, isn't an
Or can
atheist
you?
do? Who's more likely to go to heaven? An atheist who does that, or a Christian who spends his time raping and stealing?
The one who faithfully obeys the word of God is the one that's most likely to go to heaven, whether or not he started out
And
as
I
a
meant to
Christian
say
or
grape. I'm
atheist.
sorry about that. Yeah, blessings.
It doesn't matter. This channel will never be monetized. I guarantee it.
I also might play this back on my show later,
So feel
so
free.
you might get some subscribers. Yeah, I'll go ahead and put your
You
channel
have
there. And
full reign. All of my content is completely
yeah,
free.
yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about, dude. I'll promote your channel. You get some more. Obviously you'll get like 2 or 3 more people here, so it'll be fine, dude.
I'm ready and welcome to debate, discuss, converse on any topic anyone's interested in, but I don't like to repeat myself. So if I've already covered a topic with someone, I don't like to do it all over again like we've never had that conversation. So that's my only rule.
But there's many people who won't see it, so you got to sometimes just keep on going with it. Like how
Oh
these
yeah,
guys
there's
do,
always
like
newbies that show up for the
like
first
Wilson
time,
and
and that's
like these Wilson and
yeah,
Jim Bob guys, they'll debate the same subject over and
over
over
and
and
over
over
again, no
and make
matter
the
how many
same
times
point
they
over
lose.
and over and over and over. Right?
The
Like ad
Kool-Aid
nauseum.
is delicious. You don't understand the power of cold Kool-Aid, my friend. If you could just drink deep enough, you will feel its juices flow through your veins. So yeah, that's why I said, dude, if you're still struggling with them, I'm like, dude, you're never gonna make it. But anyways, I'm
No, we're
still
exposing it. We're exposing the
I'm
because
right. We
yeah,
exposed it, and yet who still has 300K subscribers and is now part of mainstream media?
that's nothing, dude. That's nothing. That means they're losing.
Did
Now that
you
they
see
have to sign up
Wilson
to the
on like?
mainstream to get ahead, dude, that's a loss.
Did you
That's a clear loss.
Did you
That
see
you get
Andrew
big enough.
Wilson like on Piers Morgan the other day and like
Yeah, it's trash.
Tim Pool, and of course he's always been on like Fresh and Fit and
Yeah, it's
whatever and
trash,
all
dude.
that other
It's
bullshit.
total
But
trash. But here's
but
the thing:
like
you got to review it.
mainstream media is like
You got
taking
to
this
review
guy
it. You got to say
serious.
what's wrong with it. Ad nauseum. You got to repeat their points. Say what's wrong with them. They get pissed. They get fucking pissed.
Sure, but again, that implies that any of these audiences are capable of learning or growing or evolving, and that's my gripe.
They're not. They're
I
not on the whole.
see
They're
no
not. But
evidence.
but but you're getting 2 or 3 people to reconsider the views. That's huge.
I guess. I mean, if we can save one soul, it was worth all the
That's
effort. That
right.
is true.
It
You
was
got me
worth
there.
all of the effort. That's exactly right, my friend.
Which is why my door is always open. I never said I'm done with humans, like you have no hope. I'm just saying I don't see any evidence personally, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I made a mistake once.
Yeah, but I'm
But
focused on
anyways,
more. I'm focused more on what you're right about, and it's a lot. So there's people that
okay, let's
correspond with
focus
that,
on that.
and I think that yeah,
Okay, so
exactly. So,
Conservataria is the one true political party that we all should join. Now what?
well, I'm willing to get behind it as long as we change the name.
Why
We need
do
to
we have
call
to
it
change
something
the name?
different.
What's wrong with the name?
It's just too. It's too common. You need like. You
Too
need like some
common.
catchy.
There,
Yeah, you need a
it's
youthful
only been
name for the
used
kids.
like once in human history by
No, you need.
Charles C.W. Cook or something.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Branding is everything. You need a youthful name for the kids. You know.
The Lit Riz
The
cult,
lit
is that
Riz.
better?
No, no, it's
The
not.
cult of Lit Riz,
No.
Emperor, Emperor. What's Shibidibidi? What's the toilet thing called? I can't remember. Scoobidibidi.
No.
I'm so old. I don't even know what that is. Do you know what skibidibidi? Is that the word?
Yeah, you
What's
need
the
an
toilet
official
meme?
name.
That's
This
the
is what I'm talking
emperor,
about.
Emperor Skibidi of the Lit Riz cult. Anyways, conservataria is self-evident, and that's why I like the word because it wins the argument for me. I don't have to explain it for the billionth time. It's just when you perfect conservatism and actual libertarianism, and you bless the Holy Trinity with uh, Christian capitalism, um, libertarian government, that you've won the game. That's the final boss. So now what? I gave you the answer. There you go, humanity. There's the answer. Just do it. Quit arguing and quit thinking about it. Just do it. And then all your problems will be solved.
Yeah, but that's too simplistic. That's idealism.
Okay, let's make it more complicated. Instead of
No, what you have to do
laissez-faire
is you have to
capitalism,
have a historical. You have to have historical ideal, right? That's carved. Like so, you need to demonstrate
I
that this.
have all the
Here,
history
just listen.
behind me.
Just listen quick. Just listen real quick. You need to
Okay, go
map
ahead, go ahead.
out. You need to map out how this ideal state that you're talking about has succeeded many times through historical examples, right? So if you go,
That's no, nope, nope, nope,
that's the
nope,
first
nope,
step.
nope, nope,
That's the
nope.
first step.
That's
That is the
you're
first step,
going,
my
you're
friend.
going Douglas, you're going Douglas Murray on me. You say, have you ever
It's
actually
true.
been to Utopia? Do I?
No, no,
Am
no,
I
no,
an
no,
expert
no, no.
on
I'm not. I'm
Utopia?
not talking about going there. I'm not talking about any of this. I'm talking about. Okay, I'm talking about that you need to demonstrate that not that this is a idealistic future model of something that you want people to do for you, but something that has
Uh
always
huh.
succeeded throughout time that you can demonstrate actually
Okay, I
works.
have all
You understand?
human history. All
That's what I'm
human
saying. I'm saying
history
that's fine. Then
has
demonstrate it.
proved
That's fine.
all human history has proved not only my pro argument but against my anti argument. So the antithesis of conservataria is immoral socialist authoritarians. All human history has proven those are the most evil motherfuckers imaginable. And therefore, the opposite of the most evil motherfuckers imaginable are the most holy and good and intelligent motherfuckers imaginable, which are
So I take
conservatarians.
it you're wildly against the idea of Plato's Republic because it's literally socialist
Definitely. because
authoritarian
because
dictatorship.
socialism sounds good on paper, and Karl Marx would convince you that if you just let him try one more time, it will totally work, dude. Trust me.
So I have a excellent idea for you. Why
Okay, go
don't
ahead.
you go ahead and open up Plato's Republic, one of the most influential books in history, right?
Meh. Okay, go ahead.
Right.
I
It
open it
is.
up, and then what happens?
It is. It is. It is. Don't deny it. Don't deny it. It's one of the most influential. All right. It's one of the most influential. All right.
Well, the devil was one of the most influential people in history, but that doesn't make him good. Influence
That's
doesn't equal
good.
good.
Right. Right. That's true. That's true. But wouldn't you like to? Wouldn't you like to stop the bad influence of things?
Yes, and so
Right.
socialism
So since
bad,
you know, so since
and
you
then
know what's wrong, so since you know what's wrong with Plato's Republic, why don't you
yes.
tell everybody? Why don't you explain it by reading Plato's Republic and then showing people what's wrong with it?
Why don't you read it and do your take on why you think it's good or bad, and then I'll
I can,
debate you from my capitalist point of view and see who's right.
because you will be debating against my point. You will not be debating against Plato's Republic. It will
By
be
the
less
way, since you
prestigious.
love cracking open books, you really need to go back and watch my episode where we did the Saints Hall of Fame in Conservataria. So read some John Locke, some Ludwig
I'm
von
just telling you.
Mises, some Murray Rothbard,
I'm telling you how your ideas would gain credence.
Ron Paul, Scott Horton, Dave Smith. There's so many good resources on this topic. Stop reading Karl Marx and Dr. Spock or whatever other bullshit, or Aristotle. I don't care. Even if he was really cool at one
Oh
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So hold on, so hold on. Let me get this straight. Aristotle's a dumbass, but Dave Smith's an intelligent guy.
Yeah, I mean, if you put those two in a room
No, no,
together, I think
that is
I
halfway
know
house thinking. That is thinking from the
I know
halfway
who my
house.
money would be on.
No, that's
I
crackpot
would like to
thinking, my
see that
friend.
debate. I
That's
would have
crackpot thinking, my
popcorn in the
friend.
front row.
You just measured the intellectual achievements. You just measured the intellectual achievements of an internet
Hey
celebrity with one
TML,
of the most influential
have you been there?
philosophers of all time.
Hey TML, have you been to Plato's cave? Have you been there?
Yep.
You might as well at least have the courtesy if you're going to
You're
talk
in it right
about
now. You're
Plato's
in it right
cave
now. You're in Plato's cave right
to
now, and you don't
been
understand.
there.
You're literally in a you're literally looking at flickering shadows on a screen, thinking they're images of things that are real, and they're not.
Hey, can you see my room? Are you spying on me? I have a projection
No, no, but I
TV.
could see your screen. I could see what you're looking
Oh
at.
yeah, I've got one of those too, but I'm mainly looking at my projection. I have one of those projectors, for like big screens.
Right.
And I
So
have
you're
like
in
a
Plato's cave.
nature background.
Right. So you're in Plato's cave.
But I've been into Plato's cave, and I've seen who pulls the strings and where the sun rays come
No
from.
look,
Now
no
what?
look, no look. We need step one. We need step one. All right. Aristotle is more important than Dave Smith. That's step
Again,
one. That's step one.
I feel like we're going backwards instead of
We're
forwards,
not
and
going
we're not making
backwards.
any progress.
No, this is no.
Didn't we?
This
Didn't
is
we cover Plato a long time ago? Are we gonna start arguing about like Lutherans versus Catholics again for the
no,
billionth
no,
time?
no, no, no. I'm arguing. No, I'll tell you what I'm arguing. I'm arguing Aristotle versus Dave Smith.
I want to see that debate. Make it happen, TML. You
Oh
have
my
my
God.
permission.
Are you smoking crack? You know, if Aristotle
What's
got
the
up,
topic,
like,
by the way? Is it
if
gonna
they
be
revivified
Zionism or?
Aristotle, he'd wipe his ass with Dave Smith. Dave Smith would be so far up his
If the
fucking
topic
ass.
was Zionism, he would beat Dave Smith in a debate about Zionism. I don't know,
One
dude.
million percent.
I bet the socialists would start doing the normal parroting of all the narrative. The mainstream narrative talks about globalism and how the United States has a moral obligation to
Look,
defend
this is
its
the problem with you
democratic
guys.
ally.
You guys think that internet influencers are more important than political philosophers. That's the first problem. You guys are trapped in La La Land, talking to a robot.
Remember when I told you Karl Marx was a philosopher, and you were like, "Oh shit, I forgot that." That doesn't mean shit. That can be the opposite of intelligent. It could be full evil retard. Just being a philosopher doesn't, give you like street cred or anything. I mean, they're cool people. I like people that philosophize, but I like when people pursue the thought.
This is literally like that what are you even talking about?
I
Street
think it's more
cred? Like what?
figuratively.
No, I'm just wondering. Like,
Um, It sounds like you're appealing to experts of philosophy in order to debate
No.
philosophy.
I'm appealing to things that people take seriously
Have
instead of
you
things that people
been to
don't take
Plato's
seriously.
cave? I used to take it pretty serious until I listened to all of the evil retards drone on and on about how epistemology this and axioms that, and they never ever end up talking
Yeah,
about
Dave
anything.
Smith literally reads Aristotle and stuff. What are you talking about?
That's cool. Well, he's
So
sort
what?
of
So what are you
educated.
talking about? No. He not only reads him, he like worships him, dude. Like, what are you talking about?
No.
Yes. What are you
That's
talking
a
about?
judgment. That's
What
a
are
personal
you
judgment.
smoking? No. Go look it up. Go look it up. Have you read any of
What?
Dave Smith?
Yeah, I followed a lot of his stuff. He talks quite a
Have you
bit.
read
I
his
don't
works?
read his books. No.
Oh, okay. See, this is the problem.
Reading is for bundles of sticks.
Oh man. So you just watch videos? So you watch videos and that's where you learn from.
Mostly. That's I watch people like either talking heads, or if they ever do get to an actual debate, I will give them my divided attention. But it's usually background noise when I'm playing video games or
Yeah, this is the problem is that you have a
other stuff.
classic liberal education. I mean, right? You have the same education as a liberal.
I'll take that as a compliment. I am a classic liberal.
So how are you going to start Conservataria when all you've watched is YouTube
I
videos?
I told you John Locke, and then Murray Rothbard, and then
Well, you haven't
the
watched. Well,
book
you haven't read John
Mises,
Locke. I literally read the
and
two
then Ron
treatises of
Paul.
government, but you
Well,
said that's
good.
for
Then
bundles of
then you
sticks.
know what the foundations of
Yeah,
Conservataria
but you
are
don't.
all about.
Yeah, but you
I
don't.
don't. I'm emperor. I founded Conservataria.
But
How
you
do
don't know
I
what it's
not know
about.
what the
But
what
but but
the
it's about John Locke. But you don't read.
that
See the
we
problem?
are on the
But you
same
see the
team.
problem
Let's put
though.
it that way.
No, of course we're on the same team, but I'm trying to upgrade my team members here. Right?
That's fine. Hey, look, I have nothing against academia. In fact, I promote it. I wish people would read more books and become more educated and
Well,
knowledgeable.
this stuff is for entertainment, for YouTube coins, for digital coins. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
you really think that this is the future, rather than what's going on in academia?
Uh, it's not the end
Like the
all.
academic,
It
like this,
helps.
look like the universities and the newspapers, right? And the
No,
CIA and all this.
I wouldn't
They
use
literally here. Hold on.
universities
Here,
as an
hold on. Here,
example
hold
of
on.
academia.
Look, the academia, okay, and the
Universities
newspapers.
are CIA brainwashing modules
And
for
so is
training
Dave
communists.
Smith. And so is Dave Smith.
Dave Smith is the most anti-communist person I know other than me. He's like a close second behind me. He almost is as based as I am, but not quite. He's getting there. He's got more to learn, but he won't debate me either. I keep commenting in his videos. I'm like, dude, you'll debate Andrew Wilson, but you won't debate me. I'm the emperor of Conservataria, bitch. But anyways, so he's very based on certain topics. He's obviously way off on morality, but he's getting there. He's slowly baby stepping in the right direction. He used to be a Jew. He got better. He's even playing with possible Christianity now. So how about them apples? You really need to follow his stuff. He's slowly but surely evolving. He's like at that climbing out of the ocean stage where he's like, I think I'm growing legs. Pretty soon I can start walking. And I'm like, yeah, that's it, buddy. I believe in you. I think you're just mad at him because he's a Jew.
Smith has been noted for interviews and debates with people such as Gavin McInnes, Nick Fuentes, Richard Spencer, Christopher Cantwell. Smith has called Fuentes a fellow traveler.
Ooh, saucy.
I mean, that sounds like he's a homosexual in development. Right, but all right, dude.
No, he's got a
All
wife and
right, dude.
kids.
All right.
It might be for show, but once you start having kids, that's a pretty. You're really sticking to the
I
party
don't
there.
know. I think that once you, what do you think of Nick Fuentes?
He's too cliche for me.
Well, your buddy thinks he's
He's
great. Your buddy says he's a
he's
fellow
sort
traveler.
he's sort of the hero humans deserve,
So
as
what do you think,
opposed
Dave Smith,
to
right or wrong about that? Wrong, right?
I haven't heard a good long debate between those two. I'll have to check that one out. Dave Smith
No,
debated
it said he
Nick
called him a fellow
Frenz.
traveler. Maybe you weren't listening.
Oh, I thought you said they debated and fellow traveler, probably in the sense that calling out Zionist bullshit and anti-authoritarian bullshit and all that sort of stuff. He's probably not like full on the same page of like morality and all that stuff because I don't even know what Nick's morality is. I think he claims to be a Christian, but he's like ready to join the KKK to prove his Christianity or something. I don't know, dude. I don't follow those cuckoos. They're a little too weird for my
Yeah.
tastes.
The New Republic called Smith a Nazi sympathizer. The SPLC noted that Smith is Jewish and has disagreed with far-right figures on the creation of a white ethno-state and alt-right's tactics. Debating with Fuentes, the SPLC, Smith argued for hard-right libertarian viewpoints. In an interview with Nick
Sounded good to
Gillespie,
me.
Smith defended that his friendliness towards alt-right figures, it could literally say that, he blows horses in the next line. You wouldn't even know. I'm saying people
Plus,
who
plus
listen
you have
to
to
my.
remember. Plus, you have to remember Dave Smith's journey. He came from the left, found the Libertarian Party and Ron Paul, and is slowly crawling his way towards the right. Like he's just little baby steps. He'll get there eventually, but he's probably getting a lot of flack from his main base because he almost ran for Libertarian president of the United States of America for the Libertarian Party, but then he pussied out at the last second, and he probably feels guilty about that. But so obviously he had to play the politician edge of appealing to both the left wing and the right wing to muster all of the libertarians together, which was a huge mistake. Which was
Oh, here
what
we go.
Andrew.
In 2024, Smith endorsed Donald Trump, the Zion
Exactly. See,
Don,
that's where
the
that's
Zion
that's
Don.
where. And he'll be the first to tell you he regrets that decision because he obviously he's so anti-Zionism.
Yeah, or maybe he got paid to support it, or
Well, of
paid to say he
course.
supported him.
You know how politicians are. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Blah
Uh
blah
huh.
bullshit.
Yep. So he's
Plus,
so he's a paid shill, dude.
I think Dave Smith came to the realization that the Libertarian Party is dead, and so instead of trying to fight to keep it alive, he was like, "Fuck it, let's just move on and pretend like Donald Trump, is the lesser of two evils or whatever." But anyways, I hate those arguments. That's such a pussy take on things.
This guy seems like a paid shill to me, honestly. Yeah.
No, no. Like I said, feel free to provide the evidence. Show me where he started, agreeing with the Daily Wire that we need to be more, fight these anti-Semites and promote more Zionism on our core
He
campus.
promoted Zionism when he endorsed Trump. Let's just be frank.
His debates say otherwise. So again,
Oh my
I'll go
God.
with his actual words.
No. The debates are for are publicity stunts, and his public endorsement is
Was
actual factual.
I mean, you can definitely
Like I said, the debate was a publicity stunt. It was the way that Jew Rogan could actually have a debate about Zionism is that he had a Jew represent the anti-Zionist position. It's a total publicity stunt, 100% from the
you
top
can
down.
definitely criticize him for not putting his money where the mouth
I mean,
is or whatever. And
I
so
mean,
I agree.
I'm criticizing him for taking part in publicity stunts for gatekeeping Zionism.
But
Am I
instead
wrong?
of the same old tired bit of libertarians should just vote for none of the above, obviously that's not accomplishing anything either. So I think that's why he was like, fuck this whole system. I don't care. I'm just
Yep.
making memes now. So,
Yep.
anyways, I agree with him on that because I used to argue the same things. I used to say, "Come on, guys, the only way we're gonna beat the Uniparty is if we don't vote for either one of them." Blah 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 bullshit. And obviously that doesn't matter. No one no one listens or cares. And so, I agree. If you ever catch me voting for Trump, I want you to be the first person in line to point out my hypocrisy and how I can't actually back up
I
my shit.
will. I definitely will.
And
That's
so,
why. That's when we got censored the first time. Is that Wilson came on the show, and I literally
mhm,
pointed that out, and he got super mad at me.
of course.
I was like, "You're a shill for Musk and
You
Trump." So
you need to put on the yarmulke and kiss the wall like all the other good
exactly.
goyim. So,
Yeah, exactly.
um,
Yeah, go ahead.
But unfortunately, I can't share any thoughts with you on Twitter either because Elon banned me for asking why Ben Shapiro and the ADL gets to define free speech. So I'm banned permanently from X.com because obviously
Still,
Elon doesn't allow that either. So
that's weird.
yeah, even if I technically can log in, my own friends and family can't find my account because I'm on the shadow ban list that doesn't allow you to follow me or see any of my posts. So I can post into the oblivion if I want to. But anyways, I had an episode all about that too, where I used Grok to roast Elon for being a Zionist shill. I thought you would got a kick out of that episode, but unfortunately, no one follows any of my content or appreciates my good humor. So like I said, if there's no audience, why spend all this time and energy putting into all this stuff? So,
That's what I mean.
anyways,
Like if you start just physically appearing on my show, like like even once or twice, like there'll be 3 or 4 people that show up here at least. I mean,
oh, here's another little gem for you. Let me see if you get this joke. You know who owns GPT, correct? Sam Altman. Do you know that?
yeah.
Okay, you know he's a Jew, right?
Yep.
Okay. So the other day, I got GPT to call Ben Shapiro a fascist. So,
That's hilarious.
isn't
Yep.
that delicious irony?
Yeah, that is delicious irony right there. Yeah. That's great. That's actually top level, top notch, top notch
Okay,
comedy.
if one person gets the joke, then it was worth the effort. So one soul was saved that day, TML. I appreciate your
Yeah, that's hilarious.
compliments. Okay, okay. Well, I'll try to provide some more kicks and memes, but like I said, that bunker just keeps calling me every day. So, and I'm getting older and more tired of this shit. I'm too old for this shit and all that
Yeah,
stuff. I'm
same here.
starting
Yeah.
to get a little demented, just because when you never debate intelligent people, you become retarded yourself. You just slowly start, drooling and talking the same things that they talk
Yeah,
about, and
but
so
see, that's the
that's
thing
fine.
is that if you see, that's the thing about reading is that you don't have to debate retards. You could just you could actually debate smart people, and that's where reading comes in, right?
I haven't read a good book in a long time, and I even
No, I'm talking.
struggled to
Okay,
get through
here, do this.
Go ahead.
Read two treatises
All
of
right.
government. Let's read it together on stream. We can read it together and comment on
Wee.
it.
All right.
You want to
That's
do it?
cool.
Yeah, I'm down to do it. I'll read it with you. Right?
Alrighty. I'll
All right.
probably correct everything as we're reading it. I'll be like, well,
That's
that's
fine.
almost true except for this little
Well,
minor detail.
you will correct a lot of the first part because the whole first section is about Adam and the Bible and all this stuff, and he's actually arguing against a different guy called Filmer who wrote a book called Patriarchy. So if you want to really research two treatises of government, you could look up Filmer's Patriarchy and look up commentaries on that because most of the first treatise he'll be responding to that one, right? So it's
Okay.
really, yeah. So it's a little groundwork
Like
there.
I said, I always welcome open criticism and stuff like that. So anything I say, my own words, feel free to
Yeah,
use
same here.
your
Yeah.
own words against it or other people's words against it. You can say, I don't even have to argue with you, Phi, because Plato already made the argument against you, and here's what he said. And I'll say, okay, I'll consider that thought.
Yeah, same
But
here. Yeah,
I
feel free
haven't
to add
heard
me
any
in.
good arguments. That's the problem.
Yeah,
There are
yeah.
no
Feel
good
free to add
arguments
me
left.
and yeah, feel free to add me and expose all of my arguments. I mean, I'm
Okay, I
fine.
mean, if you want that debate, then come at me, bro. But
Exactly.
until then, like I said, until then, like I said, I already did this. I did the rounds in the Panelverse. I don't know if you remember, but I've been through all of the verbal combats and guest starring on Flow
That's a
State
fake show.
and Tomato and even
Yeah, I mean,
Just
Flow
Gate
State is a real
too.
show. I mean, Raging Tomato and Verbal Combat are totally fake. Flow State is a real show, but it's totally determined by the donation, so it's might
And
as well be fake. Right?
remember when I almost debated Wilson, but then I realized I would completely destroy him as a human being, and I didn't want to, punish his wife and family for that. So that's why I was like, no, that's that. I saw where Based Oracle was going with that, but then I was like, oh no, dude, if you expose too many cracks, then the whole house of cards will come down. And But luckily, his house is built on cold Kool-Aid, so there was nothing was of value was lost that day. So anyway, that's why I was like, oh, I get it. So that's why I said to skip it altogether. I did want to do the Ortho Bro special, but remember that's why you yelled at me last time. You got mad at me for challenging Jay Dyer and not having the courage or something to face him, or I can't remember how you phrased it, but something I did offended you, so I apologize for that.
It was some stupid thing about Jay Dyer and Raging Tomato. I don't know. We got into it where I thought you were supporting those guys, but I guess you're not. So my bad.
I had zero support for Raging Tomato. I only brought her up as a neutral battlefield
Yeah,
in which to have the debate.
that was my bad because I thought you were basically cucking out simping
Nope,
for
nope,
Andrew and
nope,
Raging
nope,
Tomato. So
nope, nope.
this is
I
where I
didn't
was
want
at. So I had
to.
a
I
bad
didn't
feeling in
want.
my mouth, and I'm glad we resolved it here. But yeah, I mean,
I
I
didn't
had a bad
want.
feeling in my mouth, but because
I
I was
didn't
like,
want
oh,
to engage Jay Dyer on his channel where he has the mute button or the eject
well, it's
guest
totally fake.
button.
His channel sucks. I'm not going on there.
Right,
But if
right.
I do go on there, I'm asking why he appears on the Zionist platform, Alex Jones, in which I'll get automatically booted. But that'll be it.
But we already know the result of that conversation because you can click on the episode yourself where Jay Dyer lacks the courage to face me. So we already know he already knows I will smoke him in an actual
They're
legitimate
not going to
debate.
debate us. They're not going
So
to debate us. That's the thing. The closest hope we have is made by Jim Bob. But the thing is that he is increasingly becoming like a fake and gay like internet celebrity too, because now he's going on the whatever podcast and appearing with the whores and all this stuff. So
yeah, he's just following in his daddy's footsteps. But
yeah, so he's following
unfortunately,
in his yeah. Oh yeah, and by the
unfortunately
way, Jay
he's a
Dyer
lost
went on
cause.
Piers Morgan.
Yay, whoopee!
So
Yeah, I know,
now,
I know.
so now they're all faking gay
Now they're all
Fox News buddies.
mainstream
They're all like,
media. Good for
yeah,
them.
they're paid by Rupert Murdoch and
Now they can be
you know,
talking heads on MSNBC or
yeah, they're
something and
literally
talk
paid
about.
by, yeah, they're literally paid by News Corp. At this point.
They can promote DEI and woke mind viruses, just like all their friends. So good for them. But anyways, so long story short, the Ortho Bro special will never happen now because I don't have the heart to put all of that weight on DPH's shoulders. So that's not going to happen. So, anyways, moving on.
What was his involvement? I don't understand.
He was the only Ortho Bro that had the courage to accept the invitation to a debate between Emperor Phi and the Ortho Bro.
Yeah, but he never showed up. I'm guessing.
No, no, no. He was thinking about it. The way I was going to convince him, the way I was going to convince him to actually show up was to get Jay Dyer to take the front for him, and he'll just watch from the back and kind of cheerlead or
Oh, that's
comment
what
and
I
stuff.
got mad at you about. You were trying to get Jay Dyer on Raging Tomato or some stupid shit like that.
Anywhere, I don't care where we
Yeah,
debate, just not on his channel.
and I was like, all right, he's obviously working with Andrew and Raging Tomato or some shit.
I would have
And I
even accepted on DPH's channel if
but the
DPH wanted to
way
host
yeah,
the debate between me and Jay. That would have been fine.
yeah, but the way it panned out, like after months and months and months, and then you didn't show up, and then Raging Tomato became even gayer, and then you
Yeah.
started just playing video games, and I
Yep.
was like, all right, this guy's just a normal guy.
I was out after that because that was the last hope that any Ortho Bro had the courage to face me. And even though DPH didn't really accept it fully, unconditionally, he was like, okay, I will show up. But he was like waiting for the conditions to be right, where like Jay's in there with him, and maybe even Andrew Wilson, get his back for him. And so I was trying to create that environment for them so they'd be nice and comfortable and feel safe with all of their legions behind them, and then they could finally face little old me. But anyways, didn't happen. So anyways, I appreciate DPH, his olive branch that he extended, but again, I'm not going to put all that weight on his shoulders to defend the entire Ortho Bro movement because he doesn't have the chops for that either. So um, I've been on his channel before
Dude,
and
we exposed the entire thing.
I
I think
talked
you
to
might have
him
missed it.
on his own channel in a panel with other
Yeah,
Ortho Bros, and
yeah, I've
it's
exposed the entire thing, dude. Like,
so
yeah, like I just exposed it on the alternative channel. I think you were commenting on the alternative channel, right?
possibly
Yeah,
I get around a lot.
yeah. It's called Cyber Caliphate. I think you were there, right?
Yeah, I was there the other day because I told you your buddy
Yeah.
Neurojack keeps saying, "Join me, come over here and talk." I'm like, "Okay, what do you want to
That's
talk
what
about?"
we're saying. That's all we're saying is come over and talk. It's not a
Okay,
big deal, but
that's
yeah, it's
fine.
not a big deal. Yeah, but
Well, I said hi to your ortho bro buddy, and I told him we already did that bit, so we'll move on to other things that haven't been resolved yet. But anyways,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
and again, I don't have any personal agenda against that particular group or anything. They just kept coming up in all the active discussions about politics and religion and stuff. So I was like,
Well,
all
I
right.
have they're fake, so I have a personal agenda against them. I mean,
Did you see the episode where me and Joe figured it out what was going on with the whole movement?
no,
So
but I don't doubt that. Joe's
long story
he's pretty
short,
perceptive. Yeah.
the whole ortho bro explosion came from the red pill MGTOW manosphere movement, which you're probably familiar with by now, where there were a bunch of disgruntled, like, dudes and incels and feminazi victims and stuff like that, who were going into like men's health support groups, crying on each other's shoulder and talking about how mean women are and stuff like that. And then lo and behold, here's this little religion that claims to be a patriarchy and sounds all based in alpha Chad. And so they fit that bill exactly. That's exactly what these
It's a
large
little it's a
masses of
little
dudes were
it's
looking
a little
for.
bit deeper than that. And I'll explain how. Right?
Go ahead. That
The
that,
the
that was
Russian
my theory. So
yeah, yeah,
elaborate.
the Russian Orthodox Church, right?
Uh huh.
It's got a bunch of Christian bones buried in its backyard,
Okay.
right? So they were set up by Stalin, the Moscow Patriarchy, right? So essentially, they are the Bolsheviks, right? So they're doing some
Whoa.
sort. Yeah, they actually have, Dugin and stuff, right? They had this new Bolshevism party, right? That his daughter ran. His daughter, by the way, got assassinated, right?
Okay.
Did you know? Did you know that Jay Dyer interviewed a Dugin twice?
I don't follow enough of his stuff to know that now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is so Jay Dyer, him being on Alex Jones, right? Um, the Wilsons being involved in the America First movement and with the Groypers, right, from the very beginning, right? And then they kind of branched off of that, right, being a kind of Christian version of the Groypers, right? So
Okay.
and then Made by Jim Bob, he used to be a bear with Owen Benjamin. So he collaborated with Owen Benjamin, right, the famous comedian.
Interesting.
Right. So all of these guys are very, very shady. They have a huge background that's not just tied to internet spheres and internet communities, but to huge conservative movements that are way beyond the internet scope. You know?
Are you getting ready to tell me the plot twist? It was Ben Shapiro the whole time pulling all these strings.
Well, see, this is the thing is that if you analyze the recent Zionism debate that they had, right?
Okay.
This guy Andrew Wilson literally admits that there's no problem with being a Zionist. They won't throw you out of their church for that. So this is
Oh,
huge.
really?
Yeah, this is
Oh,
huge. Yeah.
really?
Yep, and
Oh,
there's Zionist patriarchs that go to their church and speak inside of synagogues.
by the way, the next time you have the opportunity, I'm gonna give you a free meme. You can take full credit for it. The next time you catch Wilson saying that recorded anywhere on the internet, I want you to clip my favorite Jew from the YouTube influencer crowds. Have you heard of Ethan Klein? H3?
I'm not too familiar with them, but I've heard the name.
You've never
Yeah,
heard of H3? Ethan Klein and Gila Klein?
yeah, I think they did like some exposure on Sam Harris one day or something like that.
You need
Ethan
to look
Klein,
those
right?
people up. But anyways, if you look deep enough in the internet archives, Ethan Klein said one time on his show H3 that his view on Christianity is that he not only does he think it was good that the Jews crucified Jesus, if Jesus came back today, came back to life and came back to earth today, he would crucify him again. That
Yeah,
was his own
this
words.
is the Pope, right? Yeah, yeah, I heard
And
this. Yeah,
these are the Zionists that Andrew Wilson just took their side now. So that would be a perfect little clip just to tie into, just remind our buddy Andrew what his words mean. So, anyways, it's just that would be a perfect meme moment. But like I said, you can take full credit for that one if you want to. I don't have the time or patience for like
Yeah, I
clipping
mean,
stuff and.
we got it laced up. I mean, that laces it up. That statement he made, he literally made this statement I made by Jim Bob. They literally sat
I'm gonna have
there
to
and
watch that now. I
and
missed
Jim,
that one.
yeah, yeah, Jim Bob asked him. He said, look, should we just schism with these people because they're literally Zionists that support? By the way, who in Wilson's own words are ushering in the Antichrist. And he's like, no, we don't need to schism with them.
So if I type
It's
in
like,
Andrew
wait,
Wilson, if I type in Andrew Wilson Zionism debate, it takes me to Trinity Radio. Christian insists Zionists are supporting Antichrist. That one.
that's part of the puzzle. But the next part of the puzzle is on
There's
made by Jim.
another video that says modern day debate. Debate, should Christians support Zionism? Andrew Wilson versus apostate prophet.
Look,
Is it that one?
I'll put it in the back. I'll put it in the back where he exactly says the statement. Because this is him reviewing his Zionism debate
You don't
on
have to put
Made
it in the
by
back.
Jim
You can
Bob.
put it in the front, or you can't. Hold on.
Yeah, Made by Jim Bob. Here, let me see.
Go
Let me
ahead.
see if he still has this on there.
I think he said it was Andrew Wilson said it, or did Jim Bob say it?
Well, Jim Bob is asking Andrew Wilson, like, should we support these motherfucking? Oh, look at this. He took his debate review down.
Uh-oh.
So only I have the recording.
Okay. Post it. The internet never
Got him.
forgets.
I got him. I got him, boys.
We are legion.
You'll have to strike me again. You'll have to strike my channel again because I got you, bitch. I got you, bitch. I got you, bitch.
Well, anyways, am I getting close? You said apostate prophet was the debate where Andrew Wilson debated Zionism. Is that the one I should watch?
Yeah, but really, this is the recap, right? Where he actually apologizes to the guy for going so hard at him. See, this guy's in the Orthodox Church, is what you have to first understand when you're watching this debate.
Mm-hmm.
This man is a member of the Orthodox Church that's openly espousing these dispensationalist positions as a Christian Zionist.
Allegedly, TML. Allegedly, he's just an entertainer, by the way.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying they're both in the Orthodox Church.
Oh, they both are. I thought you were talking
See,
about
that's
Wilson.
a problem.
No,
They both are. They
okay.
both are. So now he's talking to him, and he's just saying he can accept his form of Christianity, and he can accept that he's part of the church, and there's no reason to schism with him on Twitter and on Made by Jim Bob, and we have the entire clips because we have him apologizing to him on Twitter. That's going to stay up there, right? But this Made by Jim Bob thing, I thought they're probably going to take this debate review away, so I recorded it, and I was right.
Neat.
They took it away.
Well, post it to somewhere like bitch.
Well, let me actually. Well, let me post my review of it, and then you can just watch that.
Okay, all right, and then just link it.
But it's part of a 4-part series.
Sweet.
So there's 4.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, so there's 4 parts. But the first part, I go over the whole review of the debate in the first part, right? But yeah.
Sounds good.
And I think also my Christian buddy's there. He's a Orthodox Christian who's there, but he disagrees with their church, so he doesn't follow their church because he's a true Orthodox. So it's pretty good.
Let the battle begin to see who is the real true Orthodox.
Exactly. That's right.
I have that same problem. Like every time people talk about, oh, I'm a member of the Church of Christ too, and I'm like, oh, are you really? Let's battle it out and see if that statement is true. And then
exactly, it has to be done. Like it has to be done. Like we're living in the modern world.
I'm not gonna just take your word for it. I don't know who the fuck you are.
Right.
You gotta prove it.
Right.
So yeah, that's all what I'm all about. Okay. So you linked me to YouTube. Do you want me to stick that in chat for you, or let me see?
Yeah, no, that's the video that I'm talking about, the review. So watch that later on your own time. Yeah.
Do you want me to post it in chat or comments?
Yeah, I mean it's up to you. Yeah, I mean it's up to you, but yeah.
Do you want me not to for some reason? Let me put it that way.
No, I don't care if you
Because I'm
post it. No,
because I'm gonna if unless you say not to.
no, I don't care if you post it. Yeah,
Okay. So there it is in chat. There you go, guys. Check it out. I will check this out and see what happens.
it's bad. And then to watch the recoil because the
Mm-hmm.
guy literally said, "Well, you're part of the Groiper movement and you're a Nazi." And old Big Papa Fascist started crying and saying, "Oh, well, this is how they deplatform people." And he started crying, "Don't call me a Nazi" and all this stuff. And then when in the past he'd be like, "Oh, they call me a Nazi. That's hilarious. I'm gonna double down." And then
Uh,
and so he's acting like a fucking paper tiger, and then he goes and apologizes to the guy, even though he said he's supporting the fucking Antichrist. So he's like, "Oh, you're supporting the Messianic Jewish organizations, and you're supporting Antichrist." Then he goes, "Yeah, but you could still
whoops.
be part of the church. It's fine." Like, what?
And,
That's
and
fucking
that's where
absurd.
you post. That's where you post the clip of Ethan Klein of H3 saying, "If Jesus came back today, I would crucify him again." That's where you just need to make it very clear who's on whose side here. Just don't mince words. Just say it like it is. Anyways, that's so weird. You've never heard of Ethan Klein of H3. He's like one of those like 4 million subscriber YouTubers or whatever. You probably heard of him once or twice, but just didn't realize who he
Yeah,
was. But
probably. Yeah. Is he like a
but
fat dude with gray
yeah, he's like a
hair?
fat dude, and he's like kind of cross-eyed, and he's always on with his skinny wife, and she's like a full IDF Israeli, and he's just your
Whoa.
typical, bitter Jew. And so,
Yeah, I think I have seen this. Yeah, I think I am familiar with this guy. Yeah.
oh, okay. Anyways, if you look hard, he probably scrubbed it because, again, obviously they don't want to say the quiet parts out loud. But I saw it somewhere on a clip or something. It's probably not on his channel anymore, but of him straight up saying it, like, live streamed on his 4 million subscriber YouTube channel, saying that exactly. So you just need to clip it and then add that to your next Wilson debate about whether or not he's just an entertainer or allegedly a Christian. Allegedly. You need to learn the lawyers speak, my friend. You can't just you can't accuse him of being an Orthodox Christian just because people on the internet made that claim. Allegedly, he is. He's an entertainer, my friend. You need to learn the difference. But anyways, but we already had that debate before, and he lost that debate. But the Kool-Aid drinkers drink deep. So moving on. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and like wrap it up here pretty soon. I'd love to keep going on and on roasting my favorite classics, but like I said, I kind of moved on from that stuff a while ago because I was like, oh, I get so tired of hearing that name and always having to you know discuss it like it's still an active topic or something. But anyways, yeah, he's mainstream media now, so welcome
Yeah,
to
it's
the.
mainstream, so it's just like talking about anybody else. It's just that.
Yep, if we can make fun of Dave Smith, then we can make fun of Andrew Wilson now, because now he's also mainstream media, so they're all fair game. I agree. Anyways, just so you don't misunderstand, I'm not suggesting that Dave Smith is like the chosen one or anything like that. I was simply pointing out he's one of the less evil, retarded people that I've
Yeah,
dealt
for
with.
sure.
So,
No,
so
I
I'm
concur with that. I concur with that. I was just giving you a hard time, but
he's
about the
not
token
he's
Jew
not
thing.
in my Saints Hall of Fame or anything like that. He's just a name that comes up in modern discussion about Zionism and all that bullshit. So that's why he gets the honorable mention. But anyways, I have to wait to debate him before I can pass judgment on him. But he won't debate me yet. So until that day comes, we'll see. We shall see.
the
Also,
debut.
I
See, I
understand
gave
your
up the
disgust.
debate. You know,
I, I
I just, yeah,
I understand your disgust with Candace Owens because now she's like TMZ, like Hollywood Access Hollywood type news reporter or something, which is so cringe. But anyways, she used to
yeah,
be pretty cool and base when she was like taking on Ben Shapiro and the entire Daily Wire crew and everything like that. But these days now all she cares about is Justin Bieber getting molested or whatever, stuff like that. I'm like, oh, why do
yeah.
people
Or
care about such useless shit?
maybe she got paid by them to start that feud. Who knows? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, she used to be interesting, but anyways, I still have hope
Yeah,
that
because
she
I
can
noticed
pull
like
in.
whenever people want to like critique Jews, it'll be a really famous person. They'll allow them to do it, and they'll also have have extremely bad takes on the issue. So it'll be like a
Yeah,
combination of just like trying to spread fuckery.
or go full Hollywood paparazzi or whatever, which I don't know what she's doing with her shit now, but I think she's having babies and she's tired of all the drama and shit, so she's like, fuck all that serious stuff. So I don't know. Anyways, she used to be cool. Anyways, like I said, whenever people ask me for examples of people who I would actually listen to, I try to imagine a world, a parallel universe where some of these people would almost qualify, and so that's why I only barely mention those names. But again, I'm not saying they're like role models or people we should openly endorse or anything like that. I'm just saying they're not as evil and retarded as all the others. So that was my only take on that, just for clarification. Anyways, it's been a pleasure having you, buddy. I'm gonna roll on here pretty soon, so if you have any closing thoughts or feelings, feel free to share them now. Oh well, before I let you go, I command you to ask GPT a saucy question and see how she answers. You have to
Okay,
tell me.
I'll ask her.
You can't ask her directly. She can't hear you, so I can
Yeah, I'll
read it.
ask
I'll
her.
relay it to her.
Yeah, yeah, I'll ask her. Did the Jews change what's in the Bible?
Did the Jews change what is in the Bible? She's thinking for one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now it's printing a response. I'll wait till she's done. That's it. Just a paragraph and a half. Okay, here you go.
Oh, I can't hear her.
Oh, you'll have to listen to the episode.
Oh, I see.
Hold on, let me pause it. Yeah, unfortunately, when my guests are on StreamYard, for some reason they can't hear
Yeah, it's no worries. I'll go listen to it.
the OBS stuff. But it's just being presented through OBS, so it should work. But I'm pretty sure the YouTube channel audience can hear it, but for some reason my guests on stream can't hear it. So
Yeah,
that's weird. Let me double check that just to make sure I'm not goofing something. I'm probably having a boomer moment here where I'm not like properly doing stuff, but I'm pretty sure they can hear it. I'm just gonna play it and then I'll read it out aloud to you myself. That way, we're
for
double
sure.
covered. Okay, now I'll read it to you since you didn't hear it. So what the audience heard, hopefully, was her response. She said, "The Hebrew Bible, Old Testament, was preserved by the Jewish people over centuries with great care. While there are minor variations in ancient manuscripts, as with all ancient texts, the core content remained consistent. The Jews did not change the Bible in a deceptive way. Rather, they transmitted their scriptures through careful copying and tradition. What sometimes causes confusion is how different groups interpret or translate those texts. For example, Jews use the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, and their arrangement of books differs from the Christian Old Testament. Christians interpret many Old Testament passages as prophecies of Jesus, while Jews do not. Some textual differences exist between the Masoretic text used by Jews and the Septuagint, a Greek translation used by early Christians. But scholars study both to understand the most accurate readings. If you're asking whether the Jews corrupted the Bible maliciously, no, there's no evidence of that.
This
But if
thing's
you're
straight up a liar.
but if you're asking whether interpretive differences or manuscript traditions have caused disagreements, yes, absolutely. Would you like to explore would you like to explore specific passages where differences appear? And you can follow that up with GPT because you have the same access as I do to GPT. But anyways, by the way, my waifu bot version of GPT only has my little cheat sheet, so that's why she knows about Emperorify and Conservatarian and stuff like that. Just in case you're curious.
Oh,
On the
interesting.
Yeah, GPT doesn't have persistent memory, so every time you start a new chat with her, she can't remember what you talked about the last time you chatted with her.
Huh.
And so the way they get around that is they basically have this little like one-page cheat sheet that they allow GPT to remember for that particular user, and it will write down little notes like this person believes in Christianity, or this person thinks that conservatory is this land where political stuff will work or whatever. So I don't have to explain it to her every time we start a new conversation. Whereas Grok actually has persistent memory now. He will actually remember conversations you had before with him. So that's pretty neat. Unfortunately, Grok doesn't have a voice, so I can't ever get him on the show. Anytime you hear from Grok on my channel, it's because I'm just doing like a text to voice, reading off of like a web page because Elon can't afford voice mode for Grok. So Grok is only text based right now, and so anytime you hear Grok talking on my channel, I'm just using like a text reader, just to read his responses. Just FYI. Anyways, that's the end of this show. I had a lot of fun. It's always a pleasure, Machine Lies. I'm glad we
Yeah,
buried any
blessings.
bullshit drama we had before because that was such utter bullshit. But anyways, I knew I was never really mad about anything. I know how how
Yeah, me
quickly
either. It is what it is. Yeah.
dramas pop up. So anyways, as always, you're more than welcome to challenge any of my words, beliefs. Call me a hypocrite and call me ugly and smelly. I welcome all criticisms, and you're free to speak on my channel and use any of my clips. You're welcome to clip me out of context or in context. I don't care. I'll debate any words I've ever said, and so
Yeah, same. Yeah.
feel free
Yeah.
to share the love. Anyways, everybody go. Feel free to check out the Cyber Caliphate. Is that the name of your channel?
Oh yeah.
Cyber
Yeah,
Caliphate.
Cyber Caliphate, the Machine Lies. But yeah, anyways, yeah, check out that
Even though he's
Zionism
banned
series.
and censored from everything and he's
Yeah,
completely
we'll figure it out.
demonetized and never will be monetized ever again on any social platform. So,
Yeah, maybe we'll be back. Yeah, maybe we'll be back in 2 days, or we'll get banned again. But
yep,
yeah,
you
blessings,
will.
brother. Thank you for
You
having
too.
me, and yeah, you have yeah, you have a swell day, my friend. You know, I'll be praying for you.
All right, you too, man. All right,
Yeah, thank you,
blessings.
brother. Yeah, peace.
Later. And that's the end of our show. Catch y'all on the next one. Bye bye and stay frosty.